Oh, hey. Oh, I didn't see you there.
Snuck in here.
Yeah,
and with this guy named Travis Toy.
Hello, hello.
Thank you guys for tuning in and watching this. We want to do a quick, just kind of a review or first impressions about some of the periodic audio in-ear monitors.
Mm-hmm.
Now I'm going to do like a little thing here.
Yeah. Ding down.
Yeah, kind of stuff.
Leave that in there. That'll be ding down to town.
Tonk, tonk.
Yeah.
That'll be good.
Yeah.
So I'm Josh Martin, Sonic Dispenser at Periodic Audio, and I have with me today the one and only Travis Toy. Now, if you're not familiar with who Travis Toy is, shame on you. Google him and you'll find out all kinds of stuff.
Be careful what you Google.
Yeah, well,
get into something you don't want to see there.
You never know.
You never know.
Well, Travis, tell the folks who don't know much about you what you've done, musically and that kind of stuff. Just give a little bit of a rundown of.
Yeah, so I've been in Nashville for since the late 1800s,
Yeah.
1890. No, I guess I've been here since the late 99 is when I moved to Nashville. But for the last 16 years, I've toured with Rascal Flatts on the road, played on a lot of their studio recordings as well. Outside of touring, because I don't tour year round, I do a lot of session work here in Nashville and play on a lot of other people's records. And we're sitting here at my conveniently located home studio in my extra bedroom at my house, where I just have a little overdub set up where I work on people's records. Especially, this is being filmed in the year of 2020, the year of the interestingness for everyone in the music industry. But so I've been working from home a lot this year, and these guys, I've known Josh for a long time. We've worked on other projects together with other companies, and he got with Periodic and said, "Hey, check these headphones out." So he sent me some, and they're really, really, really cool. So we're going to talk about those a little bit, and yeah.
Yeah, so I guess we sent them to you about a month or so ago, maybe.
Yeah.
Something like that, and just really wanted to get your input on them. I've been using them for different things. I use some when I do mix downs and things like that myself in my home studio, and I have my favorite pair that I listen to when I'm on the lawnmower. I have my pair that I take for different things.
They need a lawnmower one.
A lawnmower model. I don't know.
It comes in a little tin. Looks like a little John Deere.
That's right.
Yeah.
I don't know what.
These are marketing ideas. You guys need to pay attention.
Be the iron for the.
That's right.
For the deck, but yeah. So and the ones that we sent, we've sent all four models. We sent you the nickel amp as well, and you've listened to them a little bit. What are your first impressions of each model?
It's interesting for me, and headphones are always interesting because everybody hears so differently, and people have, what they want to hear in things. And the cool thing about the line is, I feel like you're kind of giving something to a lot of different flavors. Correct me if I'm wrong, but magnesium is the entry level price point, right? Is that right? Okay.
Yeah.
So those are, honest first impressions. Those are already a better sounding, earbud than anything you're going to go get at, Target or Walmart, where Apple or whoever makes earbuds, But it's kind of cool as you step up through them. There are definitely, and I'm a nerd too, audio nerd, so I was looking at, before I even listened to them, Josh can say, I was texting them about the graph responses and stuff. I was like, that's completely true.
That's exactly why I wanted you to listen to this.
I was like, look at these graphs here. I wonder what those are. I'm a nerd.
I see a little dip in this.
Yeah. So, I feel like as you move up through them, I will say that my favorite are the beryllium, even though I think those are the second to last as far as the price point goes. But those to me, I was telling Josh earlier, are kind of what I want because they're not flat. None of these are studio flat, like reference flat. But the reality of that is you don't listen to music on anything that's unless you're sitting in a tuned. But even studios aren't tuned flat. They're tuned to try to translate to commercial audio. Your car or your HomePod or your whatever it is you're listening to music on. None of that stuff's flat. So those to me, the berylliums to me, are sort of what I want a commercial I don't even know what I'm saying. Yeah, what I want to commercially purchase like earbud to sound like, because to me it translates pretty accurately to what I'm trying to achieve when I'm mixing something. Right? I hope that makes sense.
Yeah, because it's the same way for me. That the beryllium earbuds are my favorite.
Yeah.
I like them all for different reasons, different things I like them for.
I feel like those are represent really nicely. Your bass, you get plenty of bass. It's not overwhelming. The mids are nice and detailed, and the highs are nice and present, but they're not taking off on you. To compare, the carbon one's interesting. That one, I think I was telling you, it seems like it's like an extreme version to me of like the beryllium, which again, all this stuff is subjective. This is one guy's opinion, but because there are people that, if you're listening to whatever your preference would be, if you're listening to, a Jay-Z track or something, it's got tons of bass. Like, there's a lot of people that get in their car and crank the bass on 10.
Right,
you know what I mean? And like, that's what they like. And there's nothing wrong with that. It's preference. But to me, like, the carbons are the ones for that, because they're interesting. They have, even if you look at the graph, they have really impressive bass response and treble response. I think they're probably just a hair less mid in them than the beryllium. Not to a detriment, it's just a little different. The sound's tailored a little differently, but those are crazy clean though. Like, it has all this bass, but it's the clearest. I think we were talking about in the harmonic distortion on the carbons. It's like doesn't even exist.
It's basically. Less than 0.2%,
which is crazy.
Yeah.
And you can, I can tell. Like, there's, for as much. That's the most impressive thing I think about the carbons, is that they are sort of more smiley face sounding. If you know what I'm saying. There's a bass and treble are kind of ramped up, but there's so little distortion in it that it's the cleanest sounding version of that I think I've ever heard in a headphone.
And that's where I'll use the carbon is when I'm doing some studio mixes, because I want to hear any of those kind of weird anomalies or something like that I'm really listening to.
And it's interesting too, because those are almost, you talk about mixing, those are in some ways a truer representation even of if you go get in somebody's car and the bass is on 10 and the not that these are that extreme, but they're more that way than the berylliums are, right? But it's not a bad way to reference a mix, against that sort of profile. And then let's see, I was trying to think, the titaniums for me are also good sound. They're just different. That's the thing to compare them all. It's actually really cool to listen to all four of them, because they're similar, but they have a lot of differences. So the titaniums for me, I think I felt a little bit of emphasis on the low end, but those to me sound almost a little flatter on the high end. They're not sort of emphasized. They were maybe truer as far as being flat, maybe on the high end, but again, all of them are sort of flavored for different things. That's what's cool. It's, again, we all hear a little differently and want to hear things differently and are used to hearing things differently, and it's cool to have a variety of because they certainly all sound differently.
That was part of the thing on the Periodic Audio website. They have a thing called a Selectatron.
Yeah.
Where I listened to them before I did that.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah, so I wanted to hear which ones I liked, and I listened to the styles that I listened to.
Yeah.
And the beryllium's what I liked, and so when I went and selected the styles of music, that's exactly
that's cool.
What it came up. So it's a pretty accurate thing, and it is. They're different sounding for different styles of music and things that you like to listen to. Yeah,
that's a cool thing, because I feel like a lot of product lines are. There might be 3 or 4 models, and you hear all of them, and there's really not much of a difference. These are all pretty drastically different sounding to me, but in a great way, and in a way that gives a lot of variety to, depending on what you like to hear. Yeah, and the thing on the website's super cool. I think I did it too, and it told me it ordered a sandwich for me, I think.
Yeah. DoorDash showed up at my house.
Yeah, DoorDash hit the wrong button.
Well, we sent you the nickel amp as well.
Yeah.
What were your impressions of that?
That thing's really interesting to me. So I've never messed with much in the way of like adding an extra amplifier to, even though I'm always sitting working in headphones, but I right before we started the video, I just checked it out because I'd just gotten one, and I had these. I didn't have the nickel yet, so I got that, and it's pretty interesting. It's I was telling you, it's like it takes the things that I noticed. There's not necessarily a big EQ difference for me. It's not that it changes the EQ. It's that it almost sounded like the soundstage had more room for things. I was listening to something I was familiar with, one of my tunes off my album, and because I really know how everything's panned because I mixed it, and I noticed instantly that there was more definition around things that were floating around that were panned, like little guitar part that's happening on the left. Like it had more, I don't know, it had more definition to it. It popped out a little bit more. Like I don't know what voodoo is happening in there, but yeah, that was my immediate observation. Is just that I heard it's like it widened out a little bit, not in an artificial way at all. Just like I don't know, things had more room to be like, frequency ranges of things that I had put out to the sides were really popping through more.
Yeah, the way I've always thought about it, like, because I had that same kind of experience the first time I plugged it in. I never had really messed with a headphone amp that much, other than some stuff that I'd used with recording before. But something, especially this small, that can fit in your pocket. But to be able to plug that in, it was almost like it brings you into the room. The best way I know to describe it is it brought me into the room with the music.
Yeah.
So it was like all of a sudden I went from listening to music to feeling like it was like a home hi-fi experience with headphones. It was that.
Yeah, it's interesting
clarity,
because, like I said,
imaging.
it's not even a change in the tone necessarily. It's like a change in the like things feel like they're more. I don't know, like it not in your face even, but just there's more. The hell am I trying to say?
it opens up the. It seems to me like it opens that imaging.
Yeah.
Like the imaging is richer, or.
Well, it's weird, and I say not in a fake way because there are plugins, when you're mixing that you can add, you can widen stuff out, and a lot of those don't sound. You can bump them a little bit; they start sounding unnatural, and weird after much at all. And like this was interesting because it's like a natural definition on things that are imaging wise without I don't know what he's designed in there, some voodoo, but. It's cool. Yeah, it's really cool.
Well, that's one of the things these guys have done at Periodic is they've taken, they talk about this being a home hi-fi experience in your ears, and to me that when that nickel amp is plugged in, that's where that really shines to me.
Yeah, it's like the quality of the sound just gets better. For lack of that's a very wide, that's a large statement, but that's the easiest way I know. Yeah, it's like the quality of everything just got. It got more expensive sounding.
Yeah, right. It does. That's true. Yeah.
Yeah, it's incredible. Yeah, it's really, really cool. And the thing's not, I don't know, it's sitting here.
It's not much
tiny.
bigger.
It's like a 9-volt battery. Yeah, it's crazy.
You can throw it in your pocket and it doesn't.
Yeah.
So we sent you the earbuds. I did not send you any of the extra earpieces. It comes with a lot of earpieces and things like that, but one of the things that we talked about, early on when I was sending them to you, you mentioned to me that finding the right earpiece was always a struggle, for you.
Yeah. Well, and to talk about I'm used to, from touring, we all use molds, like molded to your ears. So I'm spoiled in that regard from comfort, certainly versus like a generic ear tip. But I did find, these are very, very comfortable. I sit and when you first send them, I sit here for a couple hours and worked on something, and that's usually hard for me with a non-molded. I mean, I'll sit all day with molds on because again, they're molded to your ear, so they don't ever get uncomfortable really,
right.
Or they shouldn't if they're done right. But like the they come with a bunch of different tips. Foam tips are usually the ones for me, just for my ears. And again, it's like the hearing thing. Everybody's ears are so different, anatomy wise. I tend to actually have kind of small ears, so the foam ones for me are always the ones that. I can kind of smash them up. And I guess for me that, because they sort of form too, I don't ever love just a regular plastic tip because I feel like it's not, I'm so used to having earbuds that are molded exactly to my ears. It's hard for me. Yeah, it's a different feel. So the foam tips for me are super comfortable. And it's a nice quality, to nerd out on foam tips. There's definitely a lot of different qualities of like foam tips on the market. Yeah. Because I've tried, I have used like some generic stuff on the road. Had backup sets of Shure ears and stuff that had the little foamy tips, and like you get into some different. There's some that feel like sandpaper in your ears, just the actual foam itself. But these are really nice, kind of dense. They seem to conform really well to my ears when I push them in there. So yeah, they're super comfortable for me. It's nice to have the option of a wide variety of of tips of different sizes and materials, because again, everybody's different, man. There's people that probably hate foam tips, but for me, those are the ones that work. So it's nice to have all of that thrown in there, and they're very comfortable for me, for sure.
Yeah, they have the small foam, medium foam, large foam, and then the same with the silicone tips as well. So it's really just about any ear size. They've got something
big ears.
Yeah,
old man ears.
They're actually working on one for an elephant right now.
Yeah, elephant ear. Yeah, foam tip.
Well, Travis, thanks for doing the review with us. Going through these things, some first impressions on these, and just so everybody knows how they can keep up with you. And the stuff that you're doing. Tell them a little more about what you're doing. I know you're doing some tutorial stuff with steel guitar.
Yeah. This year, touring sort of ended this year, so I've been doing a lot of studio work, but I also launched something I've been wanting to do for a long time. If you want to learn how to play steel guitar, you can go to my website, Travis Toy Tutorials. Travis Toy Tutorials. It's a lot of T's. TravisToyTutorials.com, and that's a online teaching curriculum that I have. You can also just go to TravisToy.com. You can get to the other one from there, but that's more. I have a album that I put out last year, and
which is very good.
Yeah, thank you. I won't try to say an album, but the album's called Entry Point.
You need to get the album.
It's on iTunes and anywhere else, Spotify, where you want to get music. So you can check that stuff out. Instagram at Travis Toy. Very hard to find. It's very cryptic. You're gonna have a hard time finding that one out. No, but yeah, it's follow my daily, whatever, me trying to make a living playing music. It's never been more interesting
than it is these days.
Tougher these days. But we're filming this in the first part of November next week. Heading into CMA stuff, and things are getting crazy. So luckily I'm blessed to stay busy, and so far so good, making a living playing music. But yeah, check me out. You can follow me, see what I'm doing. Be very boring for you. But I appreciate you, and thanks, Josh. Thanks for having me on here. These are awesome, awesome headphones. Again, I think it's cool to have a company who's led by such brilliant minds, but also in designing products, you really are making a wide variety of stuff, even not only from price point wise, but to sound, and it's cool. Thanks, dude. I appreciate it.
Yeah,
thanks everybody. Yeah. Cheers. Periodic audio.